Hey you guys, what is up? It's Vanessa and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another What's for Dinner for you guys, where I share with you what my blended family of 6 and I had for dinner throughout the week. Now it is Sunday. This is going to be my new time for posting, you guys. I hope you're okay with it. But without further ado, let's get into the first meal.
My life would treat me. I'd always get right back up, never worry, 'cause I got a million.
Now, I don't know about where you guys are at, but here in New Brunswick, Canada, fall has arrived. So that calls for Salisbury steak with mashed potatoes. I have about 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds of ground beef here, you guys. I am using canned mushrooms. In my house, we love them. Judge me not. You go out and use your fresh mushrooms if you want to. Here are all the seasonings I'm going to use: some dried minced onion, garlic powder, some Lee & Perrins Worcestershire sauce, ketchup, black pepper, and salt. I really like to use dried parsley when I'm making Salisbury steaks. I find it really adds a nice touch. I'm going to use a little bit of beef broth because I am going to be doing my mashed potatoes in my Ninja Foodi, which is like an Instantpot. So make sure you keep watching to see how I do that. Thank you to Vanessa from Lemonade Mom, because that's the video I checked out to be able to do it. So I'm going to use some butter to make some mashed potatoes, and we're going to do up some sweet summer peas in the microwave with some butter. It's going to be good, you guys.
To go even farther, 'cause I got a million reasons to keep holding on. Yeah, I got all that it takes to win and overcome.
So leave a comment down below if you guys have cooked your mashed potatoes in an Instant Pot or your Ninja Foodi. This is a first for me, but I will never look back. I didn't have to worry about a boiling over pot or anything like that. I throw them right in here with the trivet. I ended up using chicken bouillon instead of the beef, but you could use either. That's totally up to you. I actually use 1.5 cups of liquid here. I'm going to guesstimate I have about 3 pounds of potatoes. I'm really bad at that, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and pressure cook these for 8 minutes and do a quick release.
'Cause I can feel the energy.
So when it comes to meatballs, meatloaf, Salisbury steak, all of the ingredients are really to taste. So take a look here. This is not a recipe that I follow, you guys. They're just flavors that I like. I love to put ketchup for the sweetness and the tartness from the tomatoes. I love to put lots of Worcestershire sauce. I put probably a good 1/4 cup of that in there. I put minced onion, I put salt and pepper, lots of dried parsley because I love that pop of green in my Salisbury steak and it just makes it super fresh. I go ahead and combine it all with a fork and then really get in there with my hands to make sure all of those spices are really dispersed throughout the meat. And then I'm going to divide it into 4 pieces here. You see how I do it right in the bowl? It kind of makes sure that they're all even, and I'm going to pat them out into nice little steaks. Now you could make these easily half this size. This is just the size I like because they do start to shrink up when they sit in the pan and in the gravy, and I want them to be nice and thick. And I'm telling you, when you cook it in this gravy, these Salisbury steaks fall apart.
So, well, I really don't mind. That's how much I want you. Yeah, yeah. I know it's only been 3 weeks and you're a little insecure, but let me tell you what I'm feeling. I promise that I love.
So I've had about 2 tablespoons of butter and a couple tablespoons of olive oil and canola oil all kind of blending in this pot. I have it on a relatively high heat because you want to sear them and get them caramelized, because then they're going to finish cooking in the gravy. So I'm going to slice up my onions kind of in half moon shapes here. That's the way that we like them. You could dice them, leave them a lot bigger if you'd like. And we're going to go ahead and remove the steaks from these once they get a really nice crust. Throw in the onions and the mushrooms, let them release some of their liquids, lift up all those crusty bits off the bottom of the pan because that is flavor, you guys. And then once they cook for a couple of minutes, we're going to go ahead and make our roux.
Spending every night with you. That's all I want, babe. Oh, and if I ever make a mistake, I promise you that I'll change. I'll do anything for you. I promise that I love you and never let you go. When you're feeling down, I'll always hold you close.
So So basically a roux is equal parts butter and flour, and you cook them off in the pan with your onions, or even if you didn't have any vegetables, you could just start a roux just as so. You cook it off and you add your liquid. So I have 4 tablespoons of butter here. I'm going to add equal parts flour, sprinkling it right over top my mushrooms and my onions, and cook it off for about 1 to 2 minutes. You need to cook it off to get rid of the nasty flour taste. Once that's done, you're going to slowly add your liquids. I ended up adding about 4 cups of beef broth. If you want your gravy a little bit thicker, you can always add a water flour slurry later on, but you never want to add flour directly to your liquid once you're at this stage, otherwise you're going to end up with lumps.
Baby, I'm down if you're down. Just say the words, and I'll be yours forever. Yeah, yeah, forever. Yeah, I'll be yours forever.
All right, so once that's all combined and everything's mixed together, the fun part, we're gonna add the Salisbury steaks back to the gravy, kind of spooning some of those mushrooms and onions on top just so it kind of absorbs all the extra flavor. And you're just gonna leave it simmer for 40 minutes. You're gonna let that meat tenderize, be patient, walk away, go do something else, like mash your potatoes. So this is something I got from Vanessa from Lemonade Mom. She poured the drippings from the bottom of her Instantpot over top of her potatoes and mashed them together. Game changer. That's all I can say. This is why I'm on YouTube, you guys, because just when you think you've got it all figured out, someone comes out and blows your mind. So I'm going to do all the other normal things I do, which are basil, pepper, and milk, and I'm going to blend it together with a mixer because I want super nice, moist mashed potatoes and really well whipped. So here you go.
My baby, I like you. My baby, I die for you. See you. You know, I see you. My baby, you know, I ride with you. My baby.
So I said really quickly a couple minutes ago, if you want to thicken this gravy, add a water flour slurry. That's just equal parts water and flour, you guys, and you slowly whisk it into your mixture here and it'll thicken up your gravy. For me, this was perfect and it thickened up as the day went on, and even for leftovers the next day. This was perfect, spooned over mashed potatoes. Jamie literally ate this for 2 days. We ended up being able to split these. They were super big and we had 2 full meals left, and he ate them 2 lunches in a row. He said, best meal I ever made.
Baby, you mean more to me, more to me. Ooh. Promise, Bobby, call you back, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're looking like me, oh yeah.
Okay, this meal was inspired by Caitlin at Living That Mama Life. She has inspired me so much, you guys. Please head over and check out her channel. This is not a collab, but I just shout her out all the time. She made an amazing lasagna soup and homemade Italian bread, and this girl had to try it. I did stray from her recipe, but if you want to check out exactly how she did it, I will link her channel and the video down below. But this is how I made it. I will try and leave a little bit of a write-up in the description box down below, kind of explaining to you all of the things that went into it. But here it is. Lots of spices, minced garlic, onion powder, garlic powder, dried parsley, basil, oregano. I'm going to use a can of tomatoes with some tomato sauce, some sugar to cut that tanginess or the tartness from the tomatoes, or acidity, I guess, some Italian spices, onions, cheese, lasagna noodles, and ground beef. You guys, get ready. This is probably the best thing you're ever going to make. Now, I did go ahead and try to make the recipe that she suggested for Italian bread earlier in the day. I didn't show you guys the process because honestly, it is the first time I've made homemade bread. So once I get it perfected, I will share that with you guys, but you will see at the end, it still turned out super delicious. Now, she did not use ground beef in her lasagna soup, but again, this is one of those things I don't think my family would have approved if I didn't put some meat in there. So I went ahead and did that. All of the spices I just listed off to you are absolutely to taste. So do them as per your family, but I have about 2 pounds of ground beef here, maybe a little bit less. And I would say I added about a teaspoon of all of the spices that you saw. And I even added a little bit of the garlic oil from that minced garlic. If you saw that, that's a neat little trick to do as well. I went ahead and diced up 1 onion. I didn't end up using 2. And I'm just going to cook this with the ground beef until it softens up. Once it does that, I'll season it with a little more salt and pepper. And then we're going to go ahead and add all of our liquids, our tomatoes and our tomato sauce. And you'll see I only add a little bit at first because as it goes on, I'm kind kind of judging my liquid. You're also going to need some chicken stock here. I ended up using an entire 946 ml carton, so that's about 4 cups of chicken stock. So I did use a lot, but again, I filled this Dutch oven, you guys, and we ate this for about another 2 days.
They have been cruel to you, saying things they don't mean. They have been rude to you, disrespect how you feel, but baby, I'll never.
So you noticed I seasoned my ground beef, but I always like to do that. I'm also just going to go ahead and add a lot of those seasonings right into this soup mixture because I just added a lot of liquid and a lot of tomato, which is why I added a good tablespoon of sugar as well.
Treat you right, pull you closer through the highs and lows. Yeah, I wanna show you how to.
My only suggestion would be to break your noodles a little bit smaller than I did because they are quite large here, and then obviously it's pasta, so it expanded to like double the size. It's still super delicious. As the days progressed, it became basically deconstructed lasagna as opposed to lasagna soup, but delicious either way you serve it up.
Yeah, I would never ever let you go. I would treat you right, treat you right. Baby, I would always hold you close.
I will show you really quickly. This was the second rise on this loaf. It rose and everything, but it definitely turned out to be a little more rustic and organic, and I'll call it an artisan bread. Let's do that. So all I'm doing is cutting a few slits in the top of it and putting it in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. It was amazing with the soup, super crusty and delicious, you guys. I decided to add a few little chunks of cream cheese into this. Guys, try and make sure that your cream cheese is room temperature because these were in there for like half an hour and still wouldn't melt. I added a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. Just the jar kind was fine because that's all I had. Also didn't have any mozzarella, so I ended up adding about a cup of grated cheddar, and it was super, super good. So you know what? Just work with what you have. I am in the midst of a pantry challenge at our house right now. All of these meals you're looking at are products or items that I had in my freezer or in my pantry. So I just made it work, and it still turned out super delicious. Look at this. You can see how after a while the pasta would absorb all that liquid, but when we ate it initially, this is lasagna soup, and this is amazing, and this is definitely going into our regular rotation. I mean, quite honestly, I'm pretty stinking proud of myself. Look at this. And it was so good. So I am going to share me making this in my What's for Dinner next week, which is part of a massive collab with a lot of other YouTubers, you guys. So make sure you're subscribed so you catch that video. Now, take a look at this dinner. I mean, it was heaven. I don't know how else to explain it. So I decided I'm going to show you guys all of my meals this week, complicated, original or not. I'm not going to show you the details of this one. It's basically a part of my childhood. I shared it in a Fall Food Fridays collab with Moss Family TV that's going up every Friday this week or this month in September. So I just shared this one. I will link it below if you guys want to see how to make this Acadian chicken fricot or chicken soup. If you will, you can add carrots to this and dumplings, but my family are duds and they don't like them, so we didn't add them, but it is amazing. This is something we eat all winter, all fall. Somebody's got the sniffles, we're making chicken fricot.
Why do I make things complicated? Why do I lose all my control?
So you just heard me say we are in a pantry challenge, and this is a pack of chicken that was at the bottom of my freezer and I refused to get rid of. But I figured soaking it in some buttermilk and frying it in the air fryer and making a sandwich, we can probably make that work. So all of this that you're looking at was in my freezer. The brioche buns, all of it, the mini ones, the big ones. So that is part of my pantry challenge to you guys. I have a lot of seasonings here that are going in. This is a combination of what I found for that KFC knockoff spices. So I will link that down below, but I kind of added a few extras as well. I just combined everything into about 2 cups of flour and went ahead and made my own buttermilk. I've talked about that before. It's really not something that I have on hand very often. Usually I combine about 1 cup of milk with a couple tablespoons of vinegar, and you'll see that it's going to chunk up super quick. And all I'm going to do is dredge the chicken in the buttermilk and then drop it into my dry mixture that I'm combining here, and then back into the buttermilk, and then back into the dry mixture. And you guys, I am getting so many notifications, so if you're hearing them on my voiceover, I'm sorry. It's my computer, not yours.
Something to save us, close but we're strangers, feel like we're far apart. Strip it down, new. Strip it down, new. Strip it down, new.
The idea behind the buttermilk is it's going to help tenderize your chicken because it's pretty acidic, and it will help break down the fibers in the meat. Now, it's up to you. If you want to sit and marinate this for a couple of hours, you can certainly do that. Throw some seasonings right in your buttermilk mixture. That's always really good. I didn't have time, so just having it coated in the buttermilk and then putting it into your flour mixture is going to season it and make it taste really good, because the tanginess in the buttermilk is going to help with your frying as well. So like I said, buttermilk, flour, buttermilk, flour. You're going to want to do that, and you'll see at the end, try and keep a dry hand because I made quite a mess. Yeah, so try and keep one dry hand when you're dredging. All right, you guys, if you have never fried, and I'm using air quotes even though you can't see it, your chicken in an air fryer, you should use some sort of spray oil, whether you want to use coconut, avocado. I have canola oil here because you guys know I'm all about living that Kirkland lifestyle. I'm going to go ahead and spray the basket down, and then I'm going to spray all the tops of my chicken very well to saturate so you can't see any flour. Lay that part down into the basket and then spray the other side. It seems like a lot, you guys. It's not. Imagine if I was submerging this into oil and deep frying it for 10 minutes. That would be much worse. I like to think this is a much better compromise. Is it the healthiest thing I've ever eaten? Absolutely stinking not. Is it absolutely delicious? It sure is. So I highly recommend that you give it a shot, you guys. This is the only time I'm spraying it. I won't spray it again. And voila, $3.75 for about 13 minutes. These came out delicious. Grab a meat thermometer if you want to make sure that they're done, but they were so crispy, and that double dredge really gives them that extra crispy touch.
In the back of my mind, there's someone waiting on me. You're just wasting my time because you're scared.
And here we go. I have all of my accoutrements ready for my meal. I have some bacon here as a bonus because I did some food prep last weekend. If you guys haven't checked that out, you should go and check that out. I have some cheese slices, lettuce, tomato. I went ahead and set aside 2 types of pickles because I'm a sweet pickle girl, and some of the guys like garlic. Let me know down below what your favorite is. And I'm a weirdo who likes ketchup on her chicken burger. Don't judge me. Found this sriracha ranch at great value. The boys used it. They said it was amazing. And I'm just serving this up with veggies and ranch tonight, guys, because it's that kind of night. Super easy chicken sandwiches, slap them together. Belle and Jacoby, our littler guy, had the little brioche ones, and it just happened that I had some smaller chicken pieces, so it worked out. I'm having one on a big brioche bun with some bacon and ketchup and lettuce and tomato. And I don't know, you guys, this was better than any fast food we could have gotten this night.
Right in his face and tell that man bye-bye. I'm too fly. I'm too fly.
All right, right, I know what you're thinking. Vanessa, I'm unsubscribing because you are sharing tortellini again. Well, I told you I was going to share with you real life and what we're eating. But normally it's just tortellini and the marinara sauce. Tonight I whipped out my freezer meatballs that I made in my meal prep video, and I added a jar of Hunt's tomato sauce. And I'm telling you, it's a game changer. That mixture, I added lots of Italian seasonings and kind of made my own little version of a pasta sauce. I made some garlic bread, and I just have it over a rack here. This burner was hot, so it's going to help keep my garlic bread warm. That's just a neat little tip for you guys. I made a salad, and this was one of our meals, and it was so good, you guys.
My baby, I die for you. See you, see you. My baby, right with you.
And there you have it, another week of sharing with you what I fed my family this week. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see all of you in my next video. Take care.
Gonna greet the Lord. I pray to the Lord. Fatumata Jambele. Everything being safe again, everything for your Jambele.